Hey guys, Tiffany here, and today we are going to be talking about a mysterious creature that is said to haunt the very roads and the very woods of Ohio. Now, at the time I'm recording this, I was actually just on a pilgrimage to Point Pleasant, West Virginia to get a little bit more of insight into the Mothman legend, which I'm super fascinated by. And my hotel, though, was like right on the Ohio and West Virginia border. And so I was just kind of like, hey, I am half in this cryptids country. Yeah, I'm half in this cryptid state and half in this cryptid state. So yes, I have my little Mothman here that I got from the Mothman Museum. And like I said, I spent a lot of time in Point Pleasant, downtown Point Pleasant, visiting the various sites. I do have vlogs and shorts on here, so definitely check those out. That basically describe and follow some of the things that I saw, and just my various observations and things on the Mothman. Mothman legends and the sightings and everything, as well as the Silver Bridge tragedy. But like I said, I was also, my hotel was on the Ohio and West Virginia border, and Ohio has its own cryptid as well, and that is the Dogman. Now, what is the Dogman, you may ask? Well, the Dogman, it's said to be a werewolf-like creature. It stands between 7 and 10 feet tall, and it walks on hind legs. Unlike regular dogs and wolves, it does not walk on all fours. Every single sighting of the Dogman has reported it being on hind legs. It also is said to look like it could be half human, half dog, or half human and half wolf, because it has the head of a wolf and a very muscular, almost human-like torso. However, it is also covered in this grayish brown fur and is also said to have glowing eyes. Now, in addition to this, unlike other animals, the Dogman is said to also be very intelligent and very observant. It is also said to be very aggressive and to actively attack humans or run alongside of them on the road. One of the more prominent first sightings of the Dogman in Ohio took place in 1972 when a railroad worker was minding his own business, doing his job, when he was suddenly struck in the back of the head with a 2x4 plank. However, it was not anything human that hit him. The railroad worker reported that he was hit in the back of the head by a giant wolf-like creature standing on 2 legs. There was actually a police report filed, and ever since that police report was filed, sightings of the Dogman increased, including a fast food worker that went outside to take out the trash after a long day at work, after closing up, and saw a giant wolf-like creature on 2 legs and glowing eyes out by the dumpster. There was also another account of a young boy who was on his way home from baseball practice when he came across, in the side of the road outside the cornfield, he came across a large wolf-like creature on 2 legs staring at him. As he ran home, the wolf-like creature followed him right to his front door, until he was finally safely inside. Now, I have been also discussing the Mothman at the time of this recording, and I do think that, because if I was given the choice, would I prefer to run into the Mothman or the Dogman? I would say the Mothman, because while the Mothman's appearance might be very startling, because he's like this giant moth or bird-like creature, according to the sightings of him, the Mothman didn't really seem to be, at least in the stories that I've read of him so far, or it, I don't know, because we say him because he's I don't know, he's classified as the Mothman, but yeah, but like accounts that I've read of the Mothman, like it doesn't seem like it's trying to hurt anybody. In fact, even with the Silver Bridge collapse, many believe he was arriving as an omen and a warning, and like actually trying to warn the people of Point Pleasant of what was going on. Whereas, I don't know, the Dogman just seems to show up and, I don't know, just chase people and, I don't know, not really be a very nice creature. but yeah, I don't know. I would prefer to run into the Mothman myself, because I don't know. I think the Mothman would be cool. I think I'd be like, all right, after my initial, I'm sure I'd be initially startled at its reaction. I'd be like, okay, what have you come to warn me about? So yeah, but I would definitely try to, I would prefer to run into the Mothman. If I had a choice, Mothman or Dogman, who would I prefer to run into? Mothman. I mean, come on, he's not scary. But but yeah, but I don't know. Because I do go into Ohio to like do like film work and all that stuff, and I'm just like, I don't know, I may be kind of looking over my shoulder while I'm in Ohio, but yeah, but what do you think of the Dogman legends and the Mothman legends for that matter? But I am going to be on the podcast having a few more people on that have been doing this research on the different cryptids and like the different creatures, like Bigfoot, the Dogman, and then the Mothman. I am going to be having more people on to talk a little bit more in depth about it, which I think is going to be very fascinating, because a lot of these people that see these, I mean, they're pretty credible people. I mean, at least from what I've seen and read so far. But what do you think of the legend of the Dogman? And if you had a choice, Mothman or Dogman, who would you prefer to run into? But that is my little introduction to the Dogman legends, the Dogman of Ohio. And I'm going to be just having some cryptid experts on the podcast, which I'm really looking forward to. And yeah, we're going to kind of get a little bit more into this and discuss it a bit more. And if you're curious too, there is in the live stream section of this channel, I did live stream a cryptids panel about back in April. So we had some very very cool people on that panel, and there's a couple of them are going to be on the podcast very soon, discussing more cryptid stuff. So, but go check that out too, because that's also a cool introduction to the different cryptids as well. But that's my introduction to the Dogman, and we're going to be discussing a little bit more of this stuff, like I said, in the podcast, and some of the videos if I find something really cool to talk about. And I think there's like a Dogman exhibit at one of the museums in Ohio. I'm going to have to look that up. I may have to pay that a visit too now. So, because I, did all Mothman stuff in Point Pleasant. So yeah, might have to do some Dogman stuff now in Ohio. So who knows? But that's this video, my introduction to the Dogman. I'd love to know like what your thoughts are. And hey, if you had a choice, Mothman or Dogman, who would you prefer to run into? All right, so take care, stay safe, stay fierce, stay spooky, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and I will see you in the next video. All right, take care.